Guys. I've had so many fucking problems with this fucking computer, with my fucking laptop lately. I got this laptop, this is like completely besides the point of, like, the point of this recording, right? This is not the topic I want to talk about today. The topic today is not my fucking personal soapbox. I just want to get it off my chest right now. I've had this laptop for a little over a year. Got it specifically for school. You know, they told us, yeah, you need like a relatively beefy laptop to keep up with like the programming lectures and all this shit, right? To like use Unity on it and stuff. You need something to do that shit on. I was like, okay, got this Asus gaming laptop that I heard pretty good things about. And like, yeah, I mean, for the price and the performance was like fine, it still runs fast. You know, that's the thing. Like, it has an SSD, has 16 gigabytes of RAM. All that shit is still like relatively nice. Like, I can still like open programs and like move things, and like it's relatively quick, right? But just the stability of the system. The stability of the system, the stability of Windows generally is fucking horrible at this point. And like, just so many tasks will hammer the shit out of my CPU. In a way that they just didn't used to before. I remember using Premiere on this laptop, and it was just completely smooth, it was completely fine. And editing a video on it, like for school this week, was a fucking nightmare. I had not used it for like a couple months at least at that point. Maybe months is like saying a lot, but like, I don't know. Maybe a month. And fuck, dude. Oh, like, just layering two videos on top of each other. That was like too much. The previews just did not fucking run. It is so catastrophically bad at this point, and like, that's not even mentioning like constant stutters, like this weird stuttering issue that I've had for a while, where the whole system will just kind of for a little bit and then it will resume, couple times per session at least. But then this week, or like last week, I think, I don't know, is when it started to just like the whole system would just lock up frequently, like at least once a day, and it drove me crazy. It's driving me crazy. Well, it drove me crazy enough that I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna reinstall Windows. I'm gonna completely wipe this hard drive and just reinstall Windows. And like, so far it's been running a lot better. I have not had like, well, yeah, I have not had these stutters that I mentioned. Premiere seemed a little bit more stable, blah blah blah, whatever. But then tonight I had my first fucking freeze again. What the fuck? And see, it happened like an hour or two after I had installed the AMD software, right? And I was like, maybe it's that, right? And then I just uninstalled it because I was like, fuck it, I don't need it, right? I don't strictly need it to play games on it. I just thought, maybe it's better. Just got rid of it now. I'm not gonna install any fucking, like, unless I critically need certain drivers, I'm not gonna install them. I had so much like shit that sort of came with this laptop, like the whole Asus like suite to like fucking, I don't know, control the speed of your fucking fan or whatever, right? All this like super integral BIOS shit that seems important, right? That seems kind of important, but also just reduced in my estimation, the stability of my system a lot. Like, it's just, I feel like I was introducing all these like little risk factors for the stability of my system. And now I just don't want to do that. I just want to not, if I don't critically fucking need something, I'm not gonna solve it. I'm not gonna take the risk. I'm just gonna run the system like sort of as naked as fucking possible, until I get a Mac. And an iPad. That's my idea right now. Is I'm gonna get an iPad Pro, hopefully like the upcoming one, right? The one that's coming out in March. I'm not gonna get the current one. I feel like the iPad needs like one more big step to be like a full laptop replacement. Obviously, it can't fully replace a PC, but like I thought really hard about it, and like the iPad can already do all the shit that I want to do on the go anyway. The only real critical thing that I can't do is like Unity and Unreal Engine, yeah. But I thought about it real hard, and like I don't have programming classes anymore, right? So I haven't had to use Unity on the go strictly in a long ass time, and in fact the last time I used it on the go was like last November, maybe. like probably exactly a year ago. And I think for most of the shit that I want to do, in most situations, the iPad is just gonna be better than like another laptop, you know. And then for at home, I'm just gonna get a Mac. I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired of this shit. I just cannot deal with it anymore. Let me know how you feel about this topic in the comments, maybe. Like, because, like, people get really emotional over this. People get really heated when you suggest getting a Mac, or like pose the idea that you might get a Mac, right? They will, they'll tell you, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you do that?" I've never had a Mac, right? I'm saying that from the perspective of someone who's never had a Mac. Who I'm just like convinced now that that Windows is just way too unreliable to actually like work on it in any kind of professional capacity. And I have too much professional kind of shit going on now to still take that risk, you know? I think, yeah, that's the thing. I think with desktops, it's probably mostly fine. Maybe I'm just really unlucky, you know? Don't buy a Windows laptop, honestly. If you're gonna get a laptop, don't get a Windows laptop. Fuck. It's like, oh. It's not even worth it in terms of the price, you know? It's not even that much cheaper. Like, if you want to get anything sort of like decent, right? I think just Macs, they outperform anything in like their price range, like MacBooks, at least. And then with the iMac as well, like I'm waiting for the next one, sort of, with new chips and all that. Because I want like sort of the beefiest thing I can get sort of in that price range and that sort of configuration, whatever. Yeah. Enough of that. See, it's semi-related to what I actually want to talk about now, because like obviously from the title of this video you can see it's about game design shit that I've thought about / learned this year, right? So it is blah. I've talked about all my tech woes, right, for 10 minutes now. Holy fuck. Yeah, tech woes, kind of obviously related to what I'm doing in school, right? I actually today was a little bit productive, a little bit more productive than I expected, and than I have been like the last couple days, thankfully. We're using this website, this web fucking software, whatever, called Hack and Plan. So hack n, letter n, plan.com, to organize our whole workflow. See, one of the first things you'll learn when making games is that game design documents, like just like you know, linear fucking Word or Google Doc or whatever to explain what your game is and shit, actually sucks. Like, you should not do that. It's just way too static, way too like not flexible, and see, I know inflexible is the word, but like I didn't want to say inflexible. It just sounds awkward. It's not flexible. It's like you don't really get a good overview of it just because of the format, you know. This hack and plan thing is like, it's kind of like a game design wiki in a way, you know, like where you can just make so this thing that I was working on today is called the design model, where it's like basically kind of like a tree where you have different branches, right, and then sub branches and these kind of sub branches, and like you can split this, like you can fan it out sort of infinitely. For example, for our current game, I'm gonna reveal a little bit, like it's the whole game is like played on a racetrack, and the racetrack is split into zones, right? And then each zone has like different elements to it. So the way I did it in Hack and Plan is like, I have the race, like I have one branch that's just the racetrack, and then 4 branches for different obstacles that are each like different zones, right? And then for each zone, I have like all the assets that are gonna be needed as like individual branches as well. And then for each of these things, I can like put detailed descriptions, and it's just so much more for like actually working on the game. It's way more fucking useful than like having a linear document. I think you should still have some kind of document to like present the game, right? To be able to like explain it really quickly. For the nitty gritty, it's way better to have this kind of thing. And like you can fill every branch with like tables and pictures and stuff. I'm like generally the type, I love fucking making visual notes and doodles and shit. Kind of part of the reason I want to get an iPad unit, because it's just very good for that. Yeah, right now, when I first pitched this game that we're working on right now, I made my whole presentation with like little doodles and stuff, and like I had to fucking haul my graphic tablet with me, and like it's small, but still, it's kind of annoying. If I just had one little device, you know, that could just do that, that'd be so cool. Again, that's why I think an iPad would be more useful for me in most situations than a MacBook. I still think, see, it is weird. I don't think you should, from what I'm seeing, I don't think you should get an iPad as your only computer. That sounds ridiculous. But if you have a desktop and you know what you want to do on the go, then stop the recording accidentally. Yeah, if you know what you want to do on the go, then I think the iPad sounds pretty good. But yeah. So this hack and plan thing, if you're interested in like just designing a game, if you're thinking out a game, if you just want to structure your thoughts, that's actually a really nice way to do it. It is a little bit complex at the start, but you get used to it. And obviously it's the kind of thing you have to use it to get anything out of it. It doesn't automate shit for you. Yeah. Oh, I was getting sidetracked a little bit. I actually want to expand on this point, like, just when I made my first presentation for this pitch, just like making little drawings and stuff. I don't know, it's such a nicer way to explain shit, and to like, even like when I was working in Hack and Plan today, and working on the design model today, I was just realizing I'm kind of limited with like, just like explaining certain processes in words is really difficult when I could just make a little doodle real quick, you know? That'd be so much better. But yeah, I think that's really important. Just as a designer, finding your workflow, finding the way to organize your thoughts, to present your thoughts. Especially, you're so reliant on other people, right? So you have to be able to explain your ideas. Yeah. So that's kind of a more technical way of like looking at my year, you know, like just getting to grips with that sort of thing. Especially now this year. Why the fuck is Steam open twice? Why the fuck is Steam open at all? Wait, what? Okay, fuck it. Sorry about that. I'm getting kind of cold. Anyway, what the fuck is my... Wait. I lost my train of thought there for a bit. This year, this semester, we had this, like, internally among the students, we had this idea that, people can just pitch games individually. It's been really convoluted in the sense that, everyone is, like, afraid they won't find a group, right? So everyone just makes groups way fucking in advance, and I always hated that. I always thought it was super shitty. And it's just like, just the brainstorming process in a group that you haven't previously worked with is fucking terrible. I don't know if I've talked about this before on Patreon, but like, man, just the need for everything to be 100% democratic when you're making like a creative thing is toxic as fuck. It's not productive at all. Like at a certain point, someone just needs to call the shots, you know? And like it's difficult when you have to worry, like when you're still just finding the direction. It's very hard to have to like worry about everyone sort of being heard, right? And then B, when the flow of conversation is like already going and you just can't find an opportunity to say something important, or like I had this situation this year, but in the summer semester, that we were, I had a pre-established group. We were brainstorming for our project, and then like there was sort of one idea posed, and like everyone was sort of okay with it except me. But see, the thing was, people were okay with the idea, but they weren't. I could tell nobody was excited about it, you know, and I could not just. It was just way too abstract, and it didn't have a hook, you know. And I had to fight against it really hard, you know, to like steer us like somewhere else. And like, I mean, if you remember, I actually posted a trailer for the thing that we ended up going with. I even like sent a build to a couple people. Unfortunately, it's another thing that we like, where some last couple things had to be like implemented to make it like a fully rounded thing. You know, there were just pretty severe issues with the final build that didn't get fixed, and I don't want to be an asshole about it. I don't want to say, hey, can we please look at this? Maybe like, you know, I can get together and then we can like collaborate on it or something. Like, I know nobody wants to fucking work on it, right? I just know. So that's why it's actually online. You can actually play it. There is a fucking itch link for it. But I just haven't linked people to it because I didn't feel good about it, you know, because there were so many rough edges to it that, like, with like a week of work, you could fix it. But like, it's the same exact thing that happened like last time. It's just so fucking annoying. Ugh. And that's why I said on Twitter like a while ago, fuck, if I make a game like in a group, I have to like pay people for it. There's like no fucking other way. I cannot do a game unless I can also pay people for it. Or I'm just soloing it completely, you know? Those are the only two fucking methods. Because you cannot expect people to be attached to your thing if they're not getting paid. And I think that's perfectly reasonable, right? I think it's super reasonable to like only want to work on shit if you get paid for it. Yeah, it's just like in my experience, just how quickly this kind of shit falls apart is so frustrating. Yeah, but like again, I get it. Like, I mean, it's the same reason why I don't make YouTube videos anymore, you know, because like, what the fuck is the point if I'm not getting paid, you know? It's just so hard to justify. That's why, man, that's like the biggest reason why I just need to brush up as a programmer, you know? I cannot just be so reliant on someone else to do everything for me. And in that sense, actually, I mean, we haven't worked in the engine yet for this project because like no one wants to fucking work over Christmas. Well, everyone is doing like a little bit of pre-production, right? But we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty like starting next week. I'm excited to check out Unreal for sure. Like the reason we went with it is because, and like I'm kind of just not even talking about the thing that I'm realizing like I had a completely different topic in mind when I hit record, right? And now I'm talking about a bunch of other shit, but like I guess it's still interesting. I'm gonna transition to the actual topic in a little bit. Yeah. So, I mentioned this before probably, but like in our class, we have 3 specializations, right? We have art, we have programming, and we have design. I'm in design, obviously. And we didn't get a programmer for this semester for this group. I like pitched my thing, and it went really well. But we have 2 groups that have 2 programmers already. And there was just no one else left after that, right? And yeah, there was like one more group that's like doing an analog game, so they didn't need a programmer. And in fact, for that game, one of the designers actually used to be in the programming specialization, so they switched. So that's how we lost one programmer, I guess. But I guess, you know, since they're in that group and they don't have a programmer either, like a dedicated one, I guess it wouldn't have made a difference. But then I think 2 more programmers like left our semester as well, and then 2 groups just have 2 programmers. And it's like, I'm not saying programmers should solo fucking everything, right? Not saying that. But like, when there is a group that just could use a programmer and they just don't have one, it's a little bit shitty. That I don't know. It's just like solidarity, man. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. There was like absolutely people who I'm not like besties with, but I would have been willing to work with them, you know? Like if they show interest, right? But like just everyone just wanted to fucking do groups and events and stuff. This whole thing, it's just, like just, I guess to expand on this like whole pitching thing, right? Like, this idea to individually pitch projects to give, you know, those individuals more freedom, right? To like, so that they don't have to brainstorm together and like find a compromise with their pre-existing group or something. And then also to make the group finding process more organic, right? That you can just join a group where the game looks appealing to you, you know? Instead of finding a group and then realizing, oh shit, we don't work together well at all. You know? Do I say you know too much? Wait, I need to listen back a little bit. I kinda do. I kinda do say it a lot. Cringe. Yeah. The problem was that this idea to individually pitch stuff, we sort of came up with it like the middle of the semester, when a lot of people had already formed their groups. I'm hoping that next semester, everyone's just gonna see, yeah, that's the way to do it. Let's just everyone do it that way, please. That'd be great. Now, fortunately, one of the artists on our team, 3D artist, they're very experienced with Unreal Engine. They've done like a lot of sort of like private projects and that. And Unreal Engine apparently has like, I mean, I knew about it a little bit, but it has this blueprint system where you can set stuff up really easily without much programming. I've seen this kind of shit in like a lot of trailers for even AAA games. I remember, I think in FF7 Remake, for example, where you just have this big canvas with like, you know, small panels, and they're connected with these nodes and stuff. And Epic, they've made it a point that they want to reduce the amount of programming you have to do more and more and more with every iteration. And that's really cool. That's gonna be, like, once it's fully in place, it's gonna be such a powerful tool for designers. Very excited for that. Very excited to, like, dig into it this semester as well. It just sounds more and more like Unity is losing its relevance. Yeah. Like, it's just such an ugly, like, choppy, stupid piece of shit. And like, it doesn't even run good on a lot of systems. It's crazy, just how kneecapped the performance is for Unity on mobile devices, on consoles. Yeah, Unreal just seems like the future. It seems like there's just fewer and fewer reasons to use Unity over Unreal. I mean, the big reason with Unity was like, oh, it's free, right? And then Unreal became free, but it's like, okay, Unity has been free for way longer, so there's more tutorials for it. Now, just the ease of using Unreal is, I think it's just getting better and better, compared to Unity, which is like, But yeah, as far as like shit that I've actually done this year, or this semester maybe. Well, I mean this year in general, but like we're gonna focus on this semester for now, because this is the first semester. Like I said, we have 3 specializations, right? And first 2 semesters, you do a little bit of everything. And then from the 3rd onward, you just do your shit, right? And we had a big game design task for this semester. A big solo task. And I really fucking enjoyed it. And it was like probably my favorite thing that I've done so far in school. And I'm like, just seeing it like was hard. It was challenging, but seeing it come together and like just the end result, I'm so happy with it. And yeah, that's like the main thing I kind of want to talk about. And I'm gonna show you what I did in this, like in the video version of this, but I guess you can just listen to the MP3 and imagine the rest. I'm just gonna look at a picture of what I did. Basically, the task was, I didn't really fully explain it on Twitter. I showed a lot about it on Twitter, but like I didn't fully explain it. The task was make a level in any engine that you want um, literally anything. And this level needs to consist of 5 different situations at least. And these situations need to get progressively more difficult. But you need to achieve this while changing as few variables as possible about like between the different situations. So like dumbest example, right? You have a shmup, you fight a single enemy, and then the number of hits you need to kill them increases with every successive situation, right? Obviously, our lecturer was telling us, yeah, if you do something like that, you're not gonna get a very good grade. Because I guess it's more difficult, but like it's not very interesting. So I was thinking about it a lot, right? My first thought was, okay, I'm not gonna do it in Unity or Unreal or whatever because I don't want to fuck around with the engine. Like I don't want to. I don't want to have to deal with tech issues on top of having to deal with the game design, right? The second reason was like I immediately liked the idea of doing something with like enemies, right? And it's just way easier to work with something where there's already some kind of behavior, right? And obviously, yeah, having that, like, this thing, yeah. So obviously my mind first jumped to like level editors and stuff. And having to work with an level editor and like a game's sort of pre-existing mechanics, I think those limitations can actually be good for this kind of task, right? To come up with something, like to find the one thing that's like really cool in the toolbox. The first idea that I had is I was really focused on like Quake. I had Quake like hard in my mind, and I wanted to do a challenge where so the stipulation exactly that our lecturer gave us was again the variable that you're changing has to be somewhat innovative. Ideally you're only changing 2 variables max for like the best grade, right? So I was thinking maybe you have a situation in Quake where you have a bunch of enemies that run pretty fast, right? That move relatively fast. But they start out really big. And then with each successive situation, they get smaller and smaller. And then at the same time, you get the needle gun, right? And you get the shotgun. And as it kind of progresses, as the level progresses, I will drain your needle ammo and then give you shotgun ammo instead. So you have to, like, the smaller enemies get harder and harder to aim at, while at the same time, you need to get closer and closer to them as well. Because of the shotgun, right? Because it's not gonna hit otherwise. That was sort of the first idea I had. And like thinking on it now, I mean, thinking like comparing that to my end result, it's probably kind of too simplistic as well. Like, well, not too simplistic. I think compared to what everyone else in the class did, it probably would have been fine. Oof, shade. But like anything on it now, I don't even like it that much anymore. But obviously the biggest problem was like I could not find like an engine that was easy enough to work with for me for that. Like I booted up Hammer once and then just gave up immediately. I was thinking about the Turok editor as well. But like, well, I didn't get into it that hard, but like it just seemed a little bit too limited. I think in a lot of FPS level editors, just enemy size and shit is not something you can easily adjust. So I shifted gears very quickly from that. Well, I wasn't completely banning it, but I was like, okay, I want to try something easier first. So I made a couple levels in Mario Maker, right? Maybe I'll, yeah, well, see, it's almost 4 a.m. on the 30th. I would like to upload this today. I guess maybe I can record some of my Mario Maker shit, but like it was so bad I don't even want to show it. I had like 2 ideas for Mario Maker. One sort of where you have like a pit of Goombas, and the only way to like interact with them was to like shoot them with the fire flower, and then I would add sort of moving obstacles that like block your shots more and more. And then maybe there's like a situation where, oh, okay, you actually have to go down because your shots are just, you know, like they just will not go through otherwise. But like, I felt just the progression of difficulty was not clear enough, and like it was not interesting enough. And I think, yeah, I think comparing to like everyone else in our class, I think I was definitely very laser focused on like, yeah, I wanted this to be kind of a fun level as well. You know, I didn't just want to make like a concept and like just a tech demo, you know, I wanted this to be kind of a level. And that's actually like a piece of advice that I got from one of my co-students. Like, yeah, I think you're like too stuck on making this like a fun level. When really what our lecturer wants is just a fucking basic ass concept, you know? But like, yeah, that's why I just wasn't happy with a lot of the early shit that I was coming up with. I had like another one. Again, like I like this one in concept where I would have Mario sort of just get into a car, right? Into the Koopa car. And you would get on a conveyor belt, right? And the conveyor belt just has one direction, right? It just goes backward at first, so it slows you down. But then your car like goes up a little bit and then flips, and then you have to jump on another conveyor belt. It's going the same direction, but because your car is flipped, you're now going way faster, right? So that's like just with changing the player's direction instead of the actual obstacles, is how I wanted to introduce variety. But then it just felt so short and like compressed and just not, in practice it just didn't really work. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not sure. Yeah, at that point I kind of abandoned Mario Maker, right? I'm not sure how I found out about the software that I ended up using. It's a fan-made tool called MAGENTA Maker. And like, I'm so glad that I found it. I'm not sure how I found it, but oh, I think I just googled platforming level editor or something, right? And then I saw a good list of some. And like this MAGENTA Maker, it's like so fucking feature-rich and so polished. It's like, it's nuts that it's not an official thing. Like almost anything you could imagine in there is in there. Like you can't do like dialogue or whatever, and text boxes and shit. There was like another weird limitation. Oh, there's like stuff in the interface that's not that good. You can't copy rooms very easily. It's like it has a room system. That should be very intuitive to anyone who's like played Mega Man before. But yeah, you can move rooms, which is nice, but you can't just copy and paste them. Which for my task, obviously that was annoying, right? Like, I just wanted to do 5 rooms and just, I wanted to do 1 room and just copy and paste it, right? That was the idea. I guess in most situations, for most normal levels, that wouldn't be very interesting, that feature, but like, I like Googled it and I saw a couple people asking for it. So yeah. There's even shit that you never really saw in Mega Man. There's like keys and shit, and like yeah, you need to collect different keys to fucking get through a door. So you can make sort of more exploratory levels as well. And they put like a lot of fucking different assets, not all of them, but like a lot of different assets from a lot of different NES style from the classic Mega Man series. So basically, like, the game does look like an NES Mega Man, but it has weapons and enemies from Mega Man 8, Mega Man 7, Mega Man 11. Like the bounce ball from Mega Man 11 is in there, and it's so fucking cool to see, like, just with those animations and stuff. Yeah, you can just do so much. Like, and Mega Man is just the kind of series that lends itself so fucking well to making levels. Like, it's so easy, like, because you have, like, Mega Man itself has so many fucking tools to work with, and the enemies have so many interesting behaviors. And just the action, platforming, combat focus just makes it so fucking easy to create interesting situations. That being said, though, my first couple attempts at making levels were really shit. The first idea that I had, so from, like, my idea was actually settled in sort of from the start. I had the idea that I wanted to do immediately, and that's you just play through the same chunk 5 times, but each time your weapon gets shittier. You have to do it with a shittier weapon. So, like, I was thinking, yeah, you start out with the Metal Blade, right? It's like the most memed, overpowered weapon, and then you can just aim freely at stuff, and it's really easy. And then your directions get more and more limited and stuff. And yeah, it was just like, obviously, I started sort of with the level that's just from left to right, and then you just go through the obstacles sort of bit by bit. And I was just kind of trying to arrange them in a way that, yeah, this is really easy with, like, the Metal Blade, for example, and then it gets harder when you have this freaking whatever, right? Makes sense. But it's just, I had so much, like, we had this other limitation that this whole thing, it should not exceed 5 minutes, right? And I had so much downtime, and, like, just the layout of the level looked very awkward. And it was so, it's really hard to describe. Like, I was stuck on, like, trying to make situations that would have, like, yeah, very different results with different weapons, right? Like, see, I think even just the way I selected the weapons, right? Like, you can, basically the way it works is that you can put containers as items in the level. You can, yeah, there's weapon containers, so you can just select, okay, this container gives you that weapon. But then there's also weapon removers. You pick up the weapon remover, and then it takes away the weapon that you selected. When I say you, I mean the designer, right? I don't mean the player. So that's how I do it, right? And, like, see, from the outset, I obviously I thought, well, the weapons have to be relatively similar, right? Because I don't want to stretch the definition of what a variable is in this context too much. Like, when our lecturer was explaining, okay, like, identify the variables. It could be speed, it could be amount of things, whatever, right? I thought weapon as a variable maybe is too loose. So I was really stuck on the idea that, like, yeah, I'm just gonna reduce Mega Man's, like, firing direction and, like, how, just the flexibility of his movement and stuff. So, for example, with the Metal Blade, you can shoot in any direction, right? You can play as Bass in Mega Man 10, and he's in Mega Man Maker as well. And Bass can also fire in every direction, but, like, his shots are very, very weak, and he has to stand in place, right? So I thought, oh, okay, maybe that would be the next step. And I was just making things way too gradual in terms of that transition, right? And designing the levels for that was just so difficult. And this, like, left to right stage, I was immediately noticing, yeah, it's not coming together. I need to abandon this. Let me go to a bathroom real quick. Oops, that's the wrong fucking window. What the fuck happened? Wait. Okay. Gonna go pee. So the next thing I tried, and I immediately thought, okay, I'm onto something with this, was I wanted to do a stage that goes from top to bottom, right? That's, like, more vertically oriented. But I still thought, I need a certain number of obstacles for everything to sort of shine, right? So I wanted to do 2 rooms, right? You start in one room, and then you go to the lower room, and then it would repeat. And then I also came up with the idea that, maybe I'll make it so that your starting position changes with every attempt, right? So that the first go around you start at the top and then you go to the bottom, and then in the next room you start at the bottom and go to the top, right? And that would introduce, like, a difference in, like, feeling and difficulty as well. Immediately liked that way more, and I actually did complete that level as well, and I had 2 of my co-students play it who are not Mega Man fans at all, right? They have no experience with the series whatsoever. That was the first time I had someone else play it, and they were completely overwhelmed, right? And they, like, the 2 biggest problems were, like, the levels were just too cramped. 3 biggest problems. The levels were too cramped. The change in position was actually not even obvious because of the 2 rooms, right? Because, like, yeah, since it's 2 rooms, you start at the top and then you go to the bottom, and then you start at the bottom in the next iteration. Because of that, it was not immediately obvious that it's like the same set of rooms, right? And then the third issue was the differences between the weapons were still too subtle, right? And it was still, like, when you're not super experienced with Mega Man, it's not really clear why the Metal Blade is better than the Bass Buster, you know? It was just way too fucking confusing. And the advice that I got is, like, yeah, maybe I need to separate myself from the idea that each iteration needs to be challenging, and B, every iteration needs to be fair. Exactly, right? And that really helped, and I'm really thankful for that. Because that's, like, yeah, just having that clarity sort of with the weapons, right? I don't even really remember, like, oh yeah, see, I was so married to the idea that you had to, like, use the Mega Ball from Mega Man 8, right? I think what I wanted to do is you get the Metal Blade, then you get the Bass Buster, then you get the normal Mega Buster, and then you get the ball. Wait, there's something else in there as well. I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. But, like, the Mega Ball wasn't even like significantly worse than the other weapons. It was just more awkward, to get a handle on. And I guess I kind of like that, but again, it's like, it's just so hard to show, and like the level, it did not feel clean, So what I did in the third iteration, right? It's just one room, and see, that's like, I took like a little bit of a break to just play some Mega Man games, right? To just see, okay, how are these levels, like, how do they tend to be designed? And I also watched the Game Maker's Toolkit video again on Mega Man 11's level design. And the one that really stuck out to me, where I thought, okay, this could work, was basically where Mark Brown, where he explains the idea of the zigzag layout, where you have 3 lanes, sort of one main lane in the center, and then top and bottom that are more narrow. And starting in one of the sort of narrow, kind of empty lanes lets you observe the obstacle that's in the center. I thought, this could actually work fucking perfectly for my idea, right? This, like, that you start at the top, and then you do the obstacle in the middle, and then you go out the bottom, and then you start the next room at the bottom, and you immediately see, oh, it's the same room. But again, because you're at the bottom, it like feels different now, and potentially more challenging. But like, both the bottom and the top lane, they accomplish the same thing, right? No matter which iteration of the room you're on, they let you observe the obstacle first, and get used to the weapon. And like, I mean, this like little periods where you're not in danger and you get used to the weapon, I did have that before, but it was just not as clean, right? And this way it was clean, right? And it was still, like, this is the thing, like, the reason I didn't do it that way before was, like, because I was so concerned that, oh, shit, like, I can't cram enough obstacles in there, right? But, like, I'm gonna go into that, like, the way I sort of laid out the different obstacles in a little bit. The next point, and, like, I guess it's arguably it's the most important point, right? With the weapons. I just decided, yeah, not every step needs to be challenging, so... But I still, obviously, I wanted the differences between the weapons to be more clear, but also still have, like a clear connection between sort of what's happening, right? So, the weapon I start with in this iteration is, the bounce ball. So, it's a lot of fucking balls, and they just bounce around, and you can still aim them, right? So you see immediately, even when you're not aiming your shots up and down specifically, you still see, oh, the balls go diagonally, and they just go in every direction, right? So that kind of immediately teaches you the idea, even if you don't know fucking Mega Man at all, you will still kind of realize, oh, okay, like, the idea of shooting diagonally, that's something that can actually happen in this game. So you do the first room like that, it's really easy. Then the next one is the metal blade. And, see, I did this, like, you see in the video these, like, dust blocks that are destructible, and I was doing that in every iteration of the level, right, where I positioned the dust blocks in such a way, that it teaches you how to use the weapon. Which is obviously important, but, like, that's the thing, like, it still didn't really work somehow in a lot of the, like, in the second iteration when I playtested it, or when I had it playtested. It still didn't really quite sink in that, oh yeah, with the metal blade you're supposed to, like, just aim at everyone, right? And I think, I mean, that's the thing, like, if you're used to Mega Man, yeah, you're gonna get it immediately. If you're not used to it, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. But, like, just starting you at the bottom and, like, giving you, like, this clear line sort of to the enemies, and just the fact that you did it with the bounce ball before, I think that definitely helped. And then, hopefully, yeah, if you're watching the video, you see in the bottom right, sort of on top, of the dust blocks blocking off the that path, you see I put 2 just regular blocks on there, and I did that so that you would hopefully see that the metal blade passes through the walls. So the way I want you to approach the second room is to just slowly pick off the enemies. So it's still not really reflexively challenging, but you need to kind of just realize, oh, I need to like approach this a little more deliberately. That's the challenge of that. Then in the third room, and this one was really helpful once I realized that. You get the Shadow Blade, and the Shadow Blade is very similar to the Metal Blade, except the range is way more limited, but also it doesn't shoot down. So because you come from the top, obviously, and because you did the same thing kind of with the Metal Blade before, you want to shoot at everybody from the top and like through the walls, but you can't. And I think that contrast worked really well. I should also say, yeah, actually, no, I'm gonna get into that later. Next room, you just get the Mega Buster, right? So you actually have to, like, really carefully line yourself up, and, like, you just cannot rely on diagonal aiming at all. And then the last stage, and this was important, I separated myself from the idea that it needs to be fair. I just take your weapon away completely. And I specifically did not really design the level to be beaten that way, right? To be beatable without getting hit, while having no weapon equipped, right? Because it showed the point just way more clearly, and like that's the problem is just had I had designed the level, or no, that's not correct grammar. Had I designed the level in a way where you could avoid everything without shooting, like perfectly without getting hit, that would kind of defeat the whole point, right? Like, obviously, it's supposed to be like significantly easier with weapons, right? If I were to design like a real level, obviously I wouldn't do this. But for the task, it made perfect sense, and it's still kind of fair. Because, again, you have to, like, expose yourself to the hits. You have to, like, run through it. You don't, it's not like, yeah, you have some time to breathe. You have some time to look at the obstacle, get used to it. So that's the thing. If you come at it with, like, enough health, you're just gonna make it, right? It's not a problem. Yeah. I guess talking about the layout of the level more specifically. Like, I think this really taught me how much you can do with very little. My favorite element of this whole level is, this little, like, landmine or whatever that, like, slides from left to right, and it hits you, and it gets faster when you're on like, one level with it. Yeah, obviously, if you're watching the video, you can see it. The thing about it, obviously, it's just kind of supposed to annoy you when you're trying to shoot the other enemies. But then when you come in from the bottom, it also blocks your shots with the Metal Blade. And I was really proud of that when I, like, sort of discovered that kind of synergy. I think generally, because of the position change, like, every single enemy serves different functions. I do think maybe the one element that's, like, kind of over-designed is, like, the little ladder on the left side of the room. I mean, the 2 enemies there are just, like, to make it harder to go down there. But, like, really, the only opportunity where you actually should probably use the ladder is with the Shadow Blade, right? Where you can fire at I think the Knuckle Joe is what he's called, the guy with the shield. You can fire at him from above with the Shadow Blade. Like, it's the first time where you have to kind of directly face him. So it's easier if you just use the ladder. I specifically put it in there for that, but, like, I guess it's the one element of this level that doesn't really, at the same time, I mean, you can still kind of use it. with the bounce ball, I guess, you know, like, I guess it is still a little bit, it's slightly easier to, like, go down there and then have the balls sort of bounce through this little tunnel. And, like, I was actually asked about this tunnel, like, you can slide. I removed the slide for this level. But I still left the tunnel so that you have just a clear line to the shield guy. I think that's the thing, if you're not used to Mega Man, you might not realize that you can shoot him through there with most weapons. So I specifically left that open just so you can intuitively see that you have that option. Yeah. And just generally, I think the layout, like, obviously it's zigzag, right, blah, but like it's also just the diagonality of it, I think, really helps. Because it lets me use a lot of different enemies in different locations without making you feel too cramped. I'm definitely using every bit of space, but still, like, just like a nice sort of open kind of plane in the middle, where there's not, like, the enemies are not too close together. They kind of form a nice circle. I guess that's a really good way to handle it, yeah. And yeah, like, that's the thing. You do get significant threats from all sides. But you can deal with all of them if you just kind of take your time. I think that's really cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just really happy with it. I'm just really happy with how it turned out, and the presentation went really well as well. Our professor seemed very satisfied. I was like, yeah, I can, like, make an extra slide, you know, like, explaining sort of my thought process with all the different obstacles and stuff. And he was like, yeah, it's not necessary. You already have a very good grade. I felt very happy when he said that. But yeah, I don't even know, man. Like, it's like, looking at it now, it's like it was just, the process was so weirdly intuitive, you know. After so many failed attempts, it just flowed so naturally here for me. Like, yeah, game design is just so much about feeling, you know. It's really weird to describe. But yeah, I guess one piece of wisdom that we also sort of, like, our lectures this semester were primarily focused on level design, right? And I think I like that with this level, our lecturer, he said, like, it's still, like, yeah, I'm changing two variables, right? The weapons and the starting position. And he said that's, like, perfectly within the threshold of this task, right? That's, like, minimalist enough still. And I guess, like, it was really important to me that the difficulty comes from the level design, you know, that the level is, like, thoughtfully designed so that the variables that I'm changing actually make a big difference. I feel like I didn't really see that with a lot of the other, you know, fucking, yeah, projects that, that were submitted. The other submissions I saw, right? I feel like, yeah, a lot of stuff, I don't know. Like, I mean, there was a couple ones that I thought were pretty clever. I don't want to talk about it too much, but yeah, I think just having such a little practice with this sort of thing is really difficult, right? I think just it's like, also, it's like, on the one hand, I do kind of like the focus on group projects, right? Because, like, or group work in general, because just learning to work with other people is very important. But at the same time, we need to do more solo shit. Like, I think especially in game design, there's just way too few opportunities to actually learn from your mistakes and, like, to even make mistakes, you know, to, like, have ideas. Yeah, I don't know. I know. There's like so much more to it. Like, uh, like you obviously from my story you can tell. Wow, I went through a lot of fucking iterations, and like I built a lot of things. I fully built some shit, and then scrapped it right before I arrived at this final thing. I know probably no one else in our class did that, right? They just kind of built one thing and then they stuck with it, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like people just got way too sort of into the weeds with it, and like like a lot of stuff was just too high concept. You know, it was not really compelling level design yet, and I think level design was the point of the exercise. And also, I mean, the biggest thing that was weird is that a lot of people didn't take the playtesting seriously. You may remember if you follow me on Twitter that I actually asked for playtesters, and like I did one-on-one sessions with everyone. I recorded everything, pulled out like hard data, like how many times you get hit, how many attempts that you need, how long did it take total, blah blah, all the shit. Like half the class did not do that. That's wild. A lot of people just sort of dropped their things in like Discord. I was like, oh, can you playtest this? I'd be really happy with some feedback. And then the only feedback that they asked for was like super subjective, right? And our lecturer was not happy with that, and he actually said like, yeah, because it was so rampant, this issue, that he actually gave those people extra time to submit a proper playtest. And you know, since it was so fucking many people, I guess that's fair. At the same time, it's like, you know, I did it properly the first time, you know, and I knew what the task was. I knew what I had to do. I didn't have, like, I think he explained it sufficiently, right? Like, I guess if, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's shitty toward people who like, I mean, that's the thing, I'm not having like a disadvantage from it. But like clearly I did do more work than like, yeah, than like a lot of other people, and like it just makes you question like, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like such an asshole saying this, right? Like I do think it's cool of him that he gave them like another chance, and that it's not going to affect their grade yet. You know, assuming they do it properly, it's not going to affect their grade. It's just for me, I'm like I could have just slacked off and like had more time, you know, like that's just annoying to think about for me. Because it's not see, I'm naturally thinking of shit like college debt, you know? Like obviously there's this thing where if you cancel college debt, is it not fucking unfair to everyone who paid their college debt already? It's like, no, fuck you. Don't be an idiot. I think this is a different thing, right? Like this is like everyone had the same fucking task in the same fucking amount of time, and then some people just didn't fucking take it seriously and they didn't do it properly, you know? And then it's maybe a little bit unfair, you know, to those who did do it properly, to like just extend the deadline. But I'm not gonna make a fuss about it. You know? It's just I'm just thinking. I guess my thinking is like, are they like actually gonna learn from this? You know, because like I'm just not seeing like the thoughtful kind of design or like approach to playtesting. It feels like they would do it the same way again in private, you know? They would like if they made their own games, they would do it the same fucking way because they don't give a shit. It's just I don't know. Yeah. What I actually want to talk about, what I wanted to transition to, a while ago already, is a piece of wisdom that our lecturer shared with us as well, and fucking getting real tired. Sorry. Is that he made this comparison. You have like a little pit in Mario. Actually, you have 2 pits, right? One of them has like just a floor, and the other one is bottomless. But the size of the pits is the exact same. They're both the same difficulty. Just because one kills you, it doesn't actually make it more difficult, because you do use the same physical skill to overcome it, right? And that's so simple. But it really opened my eyes to like a lot of shit. And I think again with this Mega Man task, like it was important to think about, like, is it actually more difficult, you know? I think, yeah, even like when he presented this example, a lot of people were like, huh, like, well, how the fuck does this even make sense? Like, isn't it more difficult? Like, I guess it is more difficult to have to do things consistently back to back and stuff. But I mean, I think that's more applicable to like action games, you know, where you don't die instantly, you have like some kind of health, right? And just fewer and fewer mistakes are permissible. But like he was even talking about like resource management and stuff. Is like actually, man, I want to look at those slides again. Actually, let me look at that again. I want to see what he said. Okay, got my fucking slides, boys. Wait, where is it? Yeah. See, it says here, most gameplay is relegated to some resource management, but being less and less permissive with the expansion. My lecturer, I should say, he's French, so the English is like not, it's not perfect English. But yeah, it's not. They're saying it's not automatically linked to difficulty, and that's actually something I was thinking about. Like, I mean, I've been fucking ranting on JRPGs so much this year. Because again, like, I'm calling this video specifically game design shit I've thought about. Even like outside of school, right? Like, it's become so hard for me to enjoy like JRPGs and like just their structures and the way they're, I don't know. Because, like, obviously, when you have two different people playing a Resident Evil game, they're gonna have a different experience, right? Like, one person might actually, like, have a way fucking harder time because they don't manage their resources well. But, I mean, if you think about it, it kind of has more to do with the fact that, their action skills are not up to par, you know? That's why they're running out of resources. Like, it's just like in a game like Etrian Odyssey or Persona even, like, I think Persona is actually really interesting because obviously your main resource when you're dungeon crawling is MP, right? Because so much of the game is like exploiting weaknesses, and that is obviously only really possible by spending MP. So when you have no MP, you have to leave the dungeon, right? Well, that's like the basic idea, right? And if you leave the dungeon, you use time. You have a limited amount of time to complete the dungeon, and in a broader sense, any day that you're like using to complete the dungeon is a day that you're losing to do anything else, right? To do your social links or whatever. And now obviously we could debate like how hard of like a choice that really is when when you consider that, oh, I'm social linking to make the dungeons easier, right? But also you have like a story motivation kind of. So like whatever, right? Let's just accept the fact that, yeah, you don't want to waste your days doing the dungeons, right? I think in practice it does really feel like that. You know, I think most people don't want to waste days if they don't have to. So you have a very real incentive to just stay in the dungeon longer. And I think Persona 5 specifically did it actually well, because it did give you ways to deal with enemies that's not just exploiting weaknesses, right? You could get a little bit clever, you know, you could like extend the usefulness of your MP, for example, by instead going for status effects and then doing technical attacks from that. But like it's a turn-based RPG, right? So some shit is more objectively optimal than others, right? Than other stuff. But it is complicated because what options you have is super dependent on like your loadout. And I think Persona is just one of the more interesting ways to handle it, because it is pretty dynamic. Yeah, I'm just thinking, honestly, if you're like a turn-based RPG and you don't really have a system kind of like Persona, why even bother at this point? You know, like it's no surprise that Persona is right now is like the most popular turn-based RPG. It's the only turn-based RPG that's like reasonably popular. I still obviously still not mainstream, but like among gamers that are kind of in the know, like it's pretty well known, right? And it's the one game that you would play. And I think that's for a reason. I think the systems are just so well designed and like they just make so much sense with turn-based combat. And it just makes every other game look fucking boring by comparison, you know? Like in any fucking linear RPG, there is a hard cap on how far you can go without having to heal, you know? And the hard cap is like extended a little bit by how much you grind, you know? You can tell I'm getting angry because I'm saying you know a lot again. I think just what this these slides, these presentation slides that I'm looking at are saying is like very relevant to what everything that I've been kind of thinking about. Just like, what is the fucking point of leveling up when the difficulty just rises at the same rate, you know? I need to stop saying you know. Why the fuck do I keep saying that? Yeah, being less and less permissive with resources is not automatically linked to difficulty. Like, I think it's just really hard to build an interesting game just based on that, right? And yeah, I think how much people disagree with those ideas shows you how flawed a lot of the thinking around it is, you know? I did it again. Yeah, obviously I already did the Mario example, right? It says here, the presence of a losing condition here doesn't change the jump difficulty, but it can influence the emotional path of the player. So, obviously, what my lecture here is saying is, like, it's not... Obviously, those elements are still important, right? Like, obviously, you should still use them to your advantage. But I think just building a game entirely around that does not work. And I've just become so uninterested in that kind of thing. This year was really, like, obviously I was always pretty aware of, like, what I like in games and, like, what I look for and what kind of games I want to make, blah, blah. But this was really the year where I fell out of love with a lot of fucking things. Just generally in games. Not just particular games, just in games generally. Like, there's so many games that I played this year that left me so cold so quickly because I'm just not getting the thing that I'm looking for out of them. Like, I started Ori and the Will of the Wisps, right? The new one that came out this year, and I just have no desire to return to it. And yeah, Doom Eternal, that's another one. I'm gonna talk about this more in the GOTY video that I'm gonna do next year. Well, technically next year, yeah, but like next month, January. But like Doom Eternal, just I was having such a blast when I first played it, and now thinking on it, I'm like, ew, it kind of sucks. It kind of fucking sucks. Yeah. I think just making a game that's actually interesting is really hard, you know? In that situation, I guess, was justified. I'm thinking about rhythm games a lot as well, you know? I want to slap myself. I'm thinking about rhythm games a lot as well, because like, just hitting buttons, it just doesn't do it for me. It just does not do it for me anymore. I want to make choices, you know? I want to have interesting interactions. I want to have, like, the sense that shit is dynamic. And that's why games like DMC4 and Rain World and Melee clicked so hard with me this year. That's the kind of shit that I really look for in games. And I think just so much of everything else does not fucking interest me anymore. And that sounds very black-pilled and very fundamentalist and very sad. But it's also kind of liberating, you know? It's kind of nice to know that, yeah, I don't need to fucking like everything. I don't need to play everything. It's fine, whatever. Was there, like, some other shit that I thought about this year? In terms of, like, game design? Fundamental game design questions? Again, I really like difficulty versus game over. And difficulty versus research management is what he's calling here. Oh, fuck, I'm so tired. Oh god, I should go to bed. This was a long one again. I'm gonna record another one tomorrow. I'm gonna record a review for Oyasumi Punpun. Hopefully not as long, because, spoilery as well, like, I think I kind of need to keep it short. Well, I'm gonna do half and half, like, one half is no spoilers, the other half is full spoilers. But yeah. I feel like there's something else I wanted to talk about. I feel like there's, like, another fucking idea that I had. Yeah, I mean, I mainly wanted to talk about the Mega Man thing, right? And, like, just sort of structure everything around that. Yeah, I finished Hades today. I'm gonna talk again, another one that I'm gonna talk about more next month. But it's just so weird to think about just how much of this game is fucking grinding and, like, how quickly it stops being interesting. It's sad. Yeah. But obviously, I mean, yeah, like, the positive experience that I get from the games that I love, I think is all the sweeter. And, yeah. I think this whole, like, everything we've talked about today, I think it makes for a pretty well-rounded package now. Like, you got a good glimpse into sort of just what my plans are with, like, the technical approach to fucking making games, and just my general mentality going into projects. I hope I didn't sound too fucking toxic and too jaded. I think I probably sound really sad and fucked up today, and I kind of am. I don't know, just life's been so busy and shitty and hard lately. Yeah, but it's gonna get better. It's gonna be fine. I have a great support system. Have an amazing girlfriend. Got video games to keep me trucking along. Oh, I'm fucking exhausted. Yeah. Fuck, I'm really mad. I feel like there was just a really critical thing that I'm not remembering. Maybe I'll remember it in the morning. I don't know. But for now, this is it. This is the end of the whatever, right? The piece.